Hi, I'm Taya Williams, and thank you for joining me here on Taya's Sweet Aroma. For today's recipe, I decided to share with you one of my favorite weeknight meals to make for my family. I make this recipe a lot on those nights that I don't feel like standing and cooking over the stove, and the recipe is my oven-baked barbecue steaks. Everything that I'm going to be doing with these steaks here today can be done in a crock pot for 6 to 8 hours. Now say you're going to be at work and you're going to have to leave it on for somewhere from 10 to 12 hours. That is okay. If anything, it's just going to give these steaks even more time to get nice and tender and juicy for you and be ready for you when you get home from work or wherever it is that you have to go. My steak choice for this recipe is a thinly cut chuck steak. Now, I love using chuck roast, and these steaks are cut directly from a chuck roast. You can see they have really nice marbling, which helps to give them even more flavor, keeps them nice and tender while they're cooking for hours or even longer in the crock pot. But you want to make sure you use a thinly cut steak. You can also use like thinly cut ribeye would be good, a little more expensive, but very good in this recipe. Whichever kind of thinly cut steak you have on hand, use it for this recipe. Now I am getting a few of my ingredients prepped and ready to go while I wait for my barbecue sauce to finish, and as soon as it is done, we will go over all of them together. The ingredients you're gonna need for this barbecue sauce is some ketchup, apple juice, dark brown sugar, apple cider vinegar, Worcestershire sauce, and the seasonings you're gonna need is some onion powder, some freshly ground black pepper, smoked paprika, granulated garlic, salt, and some ground mustard. Now this is a very quick barbecue sauce to put together. It is my go-to barbecue sauce that I use all the time, and I happen to love it and use it on so many different things. We're gonna start by adding all of the ingredients into this bowl. So I'm gonna start with my ketchup, the brown sugar, apple juice, apple cider vinegar, Worcestershire sauce. Now I'm gonna give this a quick whisk. This has come together nicely, so I'm gonna start whisking in my seasonings, a little at a time to try to help prevent any of it from lumping. Once I get all my seasonings mixed in, what I'm gonna be doing is cooking this barbecue sauce on the stove for 30 minutes. And you wanna start that by bringing the sauce to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, turn the heat down to a low simmer and allow it to cook the rest of the 30 minutes. And as soon as it is done, you can use it right away. You can store it in the fridge. It can store in your fridge for up to 2 weeks. So this has come together nicely. Now I'm gonna pour the sauce into this pot, and that is it. I will show you what it looks like when it's done. The ingredients you're gonna need for this recipe is the steaks, my tangy barbecue sauce. Now, if you don't wanna make homemade barbecue sauce, you can go ahead and just use whatever favorite barbecue sauce you have on hand. I have some thinly sliced yellow onion, minced garlic. Now for the seasonings, I have some dried parsley, seasoning salt, granulated garlic, and some freshly ground black pepper. I'm gonna start by mixing all of my seasonings together, kind of breaking apart those parsley leaves. Now I'm gonna take my barbecue sauce and begin by pouring a little at the bottom of my pan, moving it around to make sure that it gets coated nicely. Then I'm gonna take some of my steaks, place them in. Now it's okay if they overlap slightly, just trying to get them in a layer. Season them with some of my seasoning. Add on a few of the sliced onion, some of the garlic. Drizzle on more barbecue sauce. Now I'm gonna continue to repeat until I've used all of the steaks, just the exact same way I did the bottom portion. I'm now on my last layer. Something to keep in mind though about chuck roasts or these chuck steaks is chuck meat, it likes to take its time cooking. It just gets better with time. And so make sure you do not rush the process. Allow it to cook and do its thing in the oven at a very low temperature, lower than what you would normally roast things at. And You may get impatient because you will smell all of the delicious smells going throughout your house during the process, but just be patient and your reward at the end will be so worth it. The rest of the barbecue sauce is now on. Now I did use the entire amount, which was 3 cups of my Tangy BBQ Sauce. Gonna cover this with some foil, place it into the oven, allow it to enjoy, allow the onions and the steak and the garlic to just enjoy each other's company for a while, and I will show you what it looks like when it's done. My barbecue steaks have now come out of the oven. I wanted to show you how nice and juicy they are. Now you will not need a knife for these steaks. You can see that they just break apart. What I'm doing now is just recoating them in this barbecue sauce before I serve myself up a bite. These steaks are just falling apart and the onions have pretty much just like almost completely dissolved and cooked down and caramelized nicely into this barbecue sauce. I'm gonna serve me up a bite. Get a little onion on this bite. Mmm, so good. You know, I'm gonna be serving these steaks alongside some baked potatoes. Well, that's one of the sides I'm gonna be serving it with. It's delicious next to mashed potatoes because then you can kind of soup up the juices with the potatoes. You gotta give this recipe a try. As always, I thank you for spending time with me here today. Don't forget to like and subscribe below, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.